Ladies and gentlemen, the engines are fired and the Long John Silver's 200 at Martinsville Speedway is just moments away. Thanks for everybody tuning in following a rain delay at the Martinsville Speedway. They are about to start this race on rain tires. For anybody wondering, the field is just working their way off of pit road as we speak under caution flag conditions. Track still very much damp. This is the first time we will ever see on a NASCAR oval rain tires be used in an actual race. These drivers are going to obviously have their pace laps. NASCAR is going to be making their decisions whether this is going to be a smart move or not, because this has not been done. There has been no practice for a lot of these truck drivers with rain tires as well. It's not something that's really been tested a whole bunch before. It's been tested enough, at least by Goodyear, and there's been multiple drivers for each manufacturer that have sent drivers up for a test. But we haven't seen this many trucks or cars on track at once with rain tires on, so we will see just what this is going to look like. You just got to hope that when the field rolls off into turns 1 and 2 that nothing catastrophic happens and that we can get this show on the road. There is a potential for more rain on the way. We will see how that will be monitored, obviously, throughout, with them being on wets on rain tires to start. Obviously, it's basically going to be up to NASCAR's discretion on when they think enough rain is too much on the racetrack. If we do get more, we are racing to at least the halfway mark for tonight's race, which is only 100 laps. This is a very short race, 200 laps around this half-mile short track. We'll go through the starting lineup for today's race. Zane Smith will be on the pole after practice and qualifying earlier this afternoon. He is two-time winner so far this season and obviously the defending Truck Series champion as well. Kyle Busch trying to go for the 100th win in Kyle Busch Motorsports history in the NASCAR Truck Series tonight. He has one win on the season back at his home track at Las Vegas, going for number 2 here this evening. Ben Rhodes and Corey Heim will line up in row number 2. Rhodes still looking for his first win of the year, as well as Heim. Matt DiBenedetto and Christian Eckes will line up in row 3. Carson Hocevar and Chase Purdy in row 4. And also, by the way, Eckes has won a race this year. He won at Atlanta. Carson Hocevar and Chase Purdy will be in row 4. Carson Hocevar won at Texas just a couple weekends ago. Tanner Gray and Grant Enfinger will round out the top 10 in row 5. Matt Crafton and Ty Majeski in row number 6. Stuart Friesen, Tyler Ankrum in row 7. Connor Jones, Raja Caruth in row 8, Caden Honeycutt, Jake Garcia in row 9, Nick Sanchez, Wallace Allen will line up in row number 10. Daniel Dye and William Sawalich will be in row number 11, row 12, Brett Holmes and Taylor Gray. Ross Chastain making another truck start today. He will be in the 41 for Nice Motorsports on the inside of row 13 with Colby Howard to his outside. Row 14 will be Haley Deegan and Timmy Hill for the start of tonight's race. Memphis Villarreal and Spencer Boyd in row 15. Row 16 will be Chris Wright and Mason Massey. Row 17 will be Jonathan Schaefer and Brad Perez. And then rounding out the field in row 18 will be Stefan oh man, this is the first I saw this name. Stefan Malzoi, and then Dean Thompson will round out the field. Malazi. I'm pretty sure that's his last name, Malazi. Sorry, I didn't know him. I think there's a lot of short track racers, like local short track racers in the field tonight. Jonathan Schaefer's a new name. Brad Perez, I believe, made a start already this season. I could be wrong on that. And then I haven't seen Stefan Malzi so far this year. William Salowich also haven't seen in the field so far this Truck Series season. Memphis Villarreal. So there are definitely some new names in the Truck Series field tonight. We'll see if any of them can make a name for themselves having a good solid run. Danny Haley, Jeff Curry, Billy Kramer, Dark Crypto, Michael Turner, RBLX Viper Demo Team, Dale Opplinger, and others. Welcome into the stream. That's just the few that I saw in the chat before this stream started tonight. So I appreciate everybody staying up late with me, and we're going to keep the show on the road. Malozzi. I'll try to remember that when I have to fly through his name next time. Kenneth Clark, Amazing Gamer, NASCAR Justin Kent, and Riley 1645. Welcome to the stream, Terry Lewis, Doran Davis, Frank Powers. Ice Demon King 92 Hammer, also welcome. let you guys listen into the pre-race here as these drivers definitely it looks like they're trying to dry the track a little bit with these wets. Everybody running single file right now, but we'll listen into some of the pre-race here before we go green.
I would think when Kyle Larson tested a couple of years ago that the track was a lot wetter then than it is now. I mean, they obviously they physically wet the track down so Kyle could go out and test those rain tires. I mean, this racetrack is not in too bad a shape.
Yeah, it's 75-80% dry, I think, and that line they're running up there, that's just to continue the drying, but we won't be racing up there, and that's what's interesting to me. Will we be racing up there with these rain tires on?
Well, we've mentioned the tire test a couple of times. Jamie, you have more?
As all of the tires were coming out behind the pit wall, I was talking to Matt Pusha, who is the competition director for Tricon Garage, and he was actually here for that tire test. Now he works here in the Truck Series. Back then in 2021, he was working with Chris Buescher, and he said when they did that, there was a lot more water on the track, as you guys mentioned. It was a simulated rain, but they did eventually dry it out, so they could see these types of conditions. They wanted to know how long the tires would last, what impact it had on the vehicle, and one of the things they learned is they only have about 10 or 15 laps in it because that rubber is so soft. Once the track is dry enough, they will burn through them very quickly. But the shining light in it that they did learn that even though this racetrack is so demanding and it's so short, it did not impact the setups that the vehicle had on it at that point in time. So they don't anticipate there being something that's undrivable when it was drivable early. They're pretty optimistic about the equipment that they're taking out to the racetrack right now.
Yeah, good information there. Thanks, Jamie. Let's listen in on Zane Smith's radio.
We have to stay on the wet weather tires until they throw a comp caution. Any caution before that is still not a comp caution. Even we change tires, it has to be back to rain tires. And then whenever they do throw a comp caution, which they'll tell us when they throw a comp caution, then we can put on slick.
Yeah, that's just a great idea. NASCAR wants to keep the playing field level. They're going to make sure everybody changes from the wets to the dries. And
it'd be tough to make a green flag stop at this track too. You'll lose a couple laps.
I'm really curious about this parade lap. The track
Jaw Jab Racing, thanks for tuning in, as well as the Hungry One. Wade Zielinski, welcome.
We know how that concrete, relatively dry, as we heard from the driver's seat, could burn those tires up in a hurry. The only one that has experience running up in that line is Ross Chastain, starting back in 41,
And a lot faster than anybody else.
And that's a good shot of what you were saying, Michael, right there on the high side. It's the asphalt. Down low is the concrete. Concrete, obviously, a little bit more dry. So we'll continue under caution right now. We'll step aside. Hopefully we will drop that green flag when we return. Welcome back.
So again, waiting the approval from NASCAR here to go green. Some light sprinkles on the racetrack right now, but obviously just trying to see if everything is safe and ready to go under these rain tire conditions. Again, a lot of these drivers and teams don't have experience racing in the rain. Last thing we want to see is the track being too wet for these drivers to handle. They go into the first turn and we just have a melee. So hopefully the right decision is made here. NASCAR definitely very hesitant to want to get back to racing as soon as they can. And I don't blame them, honestly. Especially seeing what happened at Daytona in the July race last year and then having this situation on your hand. I could understand being completely hesitant. It would not be a great look for the sport if they just go off. It'd be dangerous, too. I mean, even though this is the slowest track, if nobody's stopping going into the first turn, it could cause some havoc if the track is a little too wet. We don't know how wet is too wet because we've never seen this on an oval in NASCAR, so we'll just have to find out. We won't know until we take that first lap and just hope everything goes well. Mark Witkowski, Patrick Shatterley, welcome into the stream as well. Keegan and Rick Ware racing. Sign me up. I probably miss a shift. I never driven stick before. They'd have to walk me through it during the week in the shop. I'll test it out in their parking lot or something. Give me a test drive in the parking lot. Just get used to the shifting. Especially on a short track. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't even be able to race a short track now. All the shifting going on. So it sounds like they are doubling up and we should be going green here very soon. NASCAR history is about to be made, ladies and gentlemen. We will see rain tires on an oval. Again, the field is doubling up as we speak. And I'm sure everybody will be hesitant going into the first turn. They should be hesitant going into the first turn. And we will find out if everybody is going to be on the same page here shortly, obviously. Lights are still on the pace truck right now. They will be going green the following time. We'll take you through tonight's coverage as well as the rest of this weekend's coverage on the live commentary streams throughout the Truck Xfinity and Cup Series, not only this weekend, but throughout the rest of the season for races I don't go to in person. So, thank you for holding out tightly here through tonight's stream, through the rain delay. Greatly appreciate everybody staying up late to watch this. Nearly 10 p.m. on the Eastern Standard Time zone where I am living right now, as well as where this race is taking place. They have gotten the 1-to-go signal. They will be going green this time, and wet tires are on for the start. Once NASCAR feels as if it is dry enough, they will have a competition caution for teams to be able to switch to dry tires under this situation. Now, you usually wouldn't see this on a road course, but because it is an oval, and especially with it being a short track, teams would lose about 2 laps pitting under green if they decide to throw slicks on it under green flag conditions, so it'd be way too big of a risk. Well, we'll see. Pace truck is on pit road. Zane Smith has the inside lane for this initial start. It'll be the controlled truck as he qualified on the pole earlier today. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in the rain in the NASCAR Truck Series at Martinsville. Green flag is in the air as the field rolls down into turns 1 and 2 at a very slow and treacherous pace. Flashing lights on the back of these race trucks to help see in case there's any sort of a spray or a mist. It doesn't seem as if it is too damp for that to be the case, and everybody's going to make it through the first lap pretty much unscathed, and lap 1 will be led by pole sitter Zane Smith. Side by side for about 4th place on the racetrack. A little bit of a mist on the front straightaway in that outside lane up near the wall. Maybe some of it seeping onto the racetrack from the actual safer barrier. And obviously these drivers have windshield wipers on the race truck as well if they do so need them. A lot of slipping and sliding off the exit of the corners though. Definitely see the right rear of the race trucks hanging out just a little bit. So you can tell the track conditions very slick in the opening couple laps of this one. But for the most part though, everybody's staying off of one another. We've seen some passes already side by side. Carson Hocevar loses a couple spots off the start, drops in line in the 8th place position between Tanner Gray and Ty Majeski. Zane Smith out to about a 0.4 of a second lead already over Kyle Busch. Lap 4 of this race so far tonight. I believe 45 laps is the distance in stage number 1, as well as stage 2 tonight, and the final stage will be 110 laps. Kyle Busch quickly running down Zane Smith now that he's got a feel for his race truck in the wet conditions. Rolls in a lot wider into turns 3 and 4 that last time, trying to almost kind of diamond cut the corner off, trying to help his drive off. Now he'll maybe make a move underneath Zane Smith. Smith slides the rear tires in the braking zone through turns 1 and 2. Kyle Busch underneath them. And a clean pass. Kyle Busch will be in the lead on the back stretch by about a half a truck length. Zane Smith trying to hold on. Slides up the groove a little bit in the outside lane again. And now Kyle Busch is clear off of turn 4. New leader for the first time today. Kyle Busch has taken the lead on lap 6 coming to lap 7. Zane Smith's race truck way too loose. Kyle Busch finessing his way through the corners has taken the early lead. 99 wins for KBM all time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Kyle Busch trying to give that team win number 100 here tonight. We'll see if he can do it. Already 1 truck win on the season for himself. And we'll see if he can seal the deal for that organization again here this evening. 3 wide, down into turn 1 and 2. Off the curb goes Nick Sanchez in the 2 truck. Almost made contact with Grant Enfinger in the 23, who slides the rear tires trying to pick up the throttle off of turn 2. And Sanchez dives back down to the bottom again. Stuart Friesman is on the outside of those 2 trucks a couple corners ago, and now he's back down to the bottom. A lot of power sliding going on again by Enfinger off of turn number 4. And Sanchez has him cleared, as that is a battle for the 12th place position on the racetrack. Jake Garcia also followed Sanchez through, as Grant Enfinger losing a ton of spots in the outside lane. Seven spots gained for Nick Sanchez in the early going of this race. Biggest mover of anybody in the field through the opening laps. Now Jake Garcia getting really close to Nick Sanchez's back bumper. Zane Smith falling back a little bit more. Corey Heim in the 11 truck will take over the 2nd place position. Highest running Toyota in the field right now is Corey Heim. And the defending champion is now falling back a little bit. Definitely seen a lot of power sliding by these teams going down into the corners. Pretty much all the way through the corner, but they're hanging on to it. It is definitely drivable. And I have not seen any contact, at least on live cam, as far as 2 trucks making contact with each other. They're definitely giving each other a lot of leniency. Everybody's struggling for grip. Lap times are down a little bit as well. That last lap was a 22.6 for race leader Kyle Busch. Corey Heim a little quicker than him of a 22.1. About half second quicker that last lap, as he's cut the lead down to about 1.2 seconds. Tanner Gray going to move up another position as well. The Toyota is starting to move forward. Tanner Gray, who was in 7th place after passing Carson Hocevar at the start, is now driven his way to 4th. 5 spots gained for Gray so far as he moves himself up the running order. Track conditions are definitely going to change throughout the day. Maybe the drivers who are doing well in the wet right now, will they be doing well in dry conditions as the race progresses forward and the track continues to dry with as many laps that are being laid down by everybody on rubber? Maybe wouldn't dry as quickly as what we'd see in a daytime condition in this same situation. Sean Leader, thanks for tuning in. Brett Whiteside's also welcome to the stream. About 100 people watching. Kyle Busch working through lap traffic right now. Velozzi has just gone a lap down, as well as the 63 truck, it appears. 33, rather. Side by side between Stuart Friesen and Salwish. Salwish already has moved himself up to the 12th place position as he clears Friesen off of turn 4. He's another one of the biggest gainers in the early going of this one. He's driving the 1 truck for Tricon Garage. Zane Smith continues to go backwards. A lot of the Fords seem to be struggling on the wets right now, and a lot of the Toyotas have moved themselves forward in the early going. Christian Eckes in a Chevy now hounding Zane Smith. Tanner Gray up to 3rd place. He's about 3 seconds off the lead. Kyle Busch still about 1.5 seconds ahead of Heim. Heim cut that lead down to 1.2 seconds. And it looks like at the line that time now it's down to 1.1. Kyle must have had a little bit of a slip up in lap traffic compared to Heim that last lap. Christian Eckes will clear Zane Smith for 4th place through turns 1 and 2. A lot of movement of positions in the top 10 of the early going in this race with these rare track conditions. If this would have been without rain tires in previous NASCAR years, it might have been another half hour before we went green. Trying to dry the rest of the racetrack and dry pit road a little bit more, but luckily these guys are able to race. Good call by NASCAR by waiting it out until it got to these conditions where it's not completely dry, but dry enough for these teams to be able to race, and they're very much capable of being able to stay off of each other under the current conditions. Just going to have to monitor if it ends up raining any more throughout the course of this one. Tyler Ankrum scrapes the outside wall off of turn 2. He had a truck underneath him, battling him for position. Or actually, it was the 51 of Kyle Busch. He was trying to lap Tyler Ankrum, who was falling way back at the beginning of this race. And he ended up scraping the outside wall. He did a good job of keeping it off the 51. I don't think Busch made contact with him at all. But Kyle Busch definitely working through lap traffic in a hurry. Ross Chastain in the 41 truck almost a lap down already, too. He started in the 21st place position, lost a few spots from the start. Now he's in danger of going a lap down. He's the first truck in front of the race leader, Kyle Busch. Side-by-side lap traffic behind the 51 of Busch, holding up Corey Heim in the 11 truck just a little bit more. Busch making a move to the inside of Chastain. Chastain going to give the 51 the bottom into turns 3 and 4. Kyle Busch back to the throttle, hit the curb a little bit. That ended up not helping his drive off. But Chastain's still going to let him go regardless. And Kyle Busch has lapped Ross Chastain. Those are the only 2 Cup regulars in the truck field tonight. Stage 1 is 50 laps, excuse me. I said 45 earlier. Stages 1 and 2 are 50 laps today. And we are about halfway through Stage 1 so far. .1 lead now for Kyle Busch over Corey Heim at second place. Tanner Gray is in third. Christian Eck is fourth. And Zane Smith rounds out the top 5. A little bit of contact between Dean Thompson. It looked like the 20 truck of Perez in the middle of the last corner. Thompson down on the curb trying to get around him. Now they're still side by side. On lap 26, Perez trying to get the drive off. Right in line behind Thompson. As they roll down into turns 1 and 2, Thompson going to pull him a little bit. Scary crash for Thompson at Texas a couple weeks ago. Got right back in the truck last week and obviously racing again here today at Martinsville. Glad to hear that he was okay. So the competition caution is out. Lap 27. And now there is the ability for drivers to take slick tires if they so choose with the comp yellow coming out. A lot of rubber buildup off the exit of turn 4, at least from the camera angle they're currently showing with the race on Fox Sports 1 tonight. All right, so it sounds like no live pit stops will be made during this actual stop. So the positions they were running at the time of the comp yellow will be the positions they restart in, as the teams will be making the switch from rain tires to slick tires. They were able to run rain tires for about 26 to 27 laps. Comp yellow comes out. And now all these teams will have to change to slick tires as the track is dry enough for them to not have to run on rain tires. Track still looks somewhat damp on the inside of the straightaways. And obviously on the outside, the asphalt portion of the corners, which you won't really see anybody be racing up there anyway. Andrew W., thanks for tuning in. Robert Goodrich and Joey Z, also welcome. The race is on Fox Sports 1 tonight. So the race is on Fox Sports 1 tonight. Actually, all races this weekend for NASCAR on FS1. The Xfinity Series race tomorrow night will be scheduled for 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then the Cup race at 3 on Sunday, all on FS1. Our live coverage of tomorrow's Xfinity race will also start at 7:30. The Cup Series races, we go live a little bit earlier than the actual scheduled start time, so we'll be going live at about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday to get those predictions out for you guys. No more rain in the forecast at the Martinsville Speedway for this week through Saturday and Sunday. Just the weather that we had really right before the race tonight. Practice and qualifying went on for the truck in the Xfinity Series earlier today. No problems there. And now as these teams go to slick tires, it'll be interesting to see if some of the drivers that move forward, like Corey Heim and Tanner Gray, who picked up a lot of spots at the beginning, if they're going to be able to hold on. Kyle Busch, obviously the leader in that, even though he started second. was able to get by Zane Smith after about 5 or 6 laps. Zane Smith fell back to 5th. We'll see if he can get going back in the right direction on the slick tires, and some of those other drivers that fell a lap down, we'll obviously see if they can get back in it as well. The driver who will benefit from this competition caution, I do believe, is going to be Memphis Villarreal and the 46 truck, as he will get the free pass during the Comp Yellow. So Ross Chastain will still be a lap down. Again, stage 1 will end at lap 45, so this will be a quick dash to the end of the stage once these teams get the slick tires on. Quality Graphics, thanks for tuning in. Mark Barnum, also welcome to the stream. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Just hit 4,000 subs on the channel during last week's NASCAR live commentary coverage during the weekend races at Richmond. Believe we ended up hitting 4,000 during the Xfinity Series race on that Saturday. It might have been during the truck race on the Saturday, but regardless of the fact, we hit it during the Saturday, so appreciate everybody. Sorry, Bristol Dirt, my bad. My gosh. Bristol Dirt, we hit 4,000 during the truck race last week. I forgot Richmond was the week before. Completely forgot Dirt Bristol happened. But during the truck race last Saturday night, we hit 4,000 subs. So appreciate that. Road to 5K right now. And again, live commentary coverage coming up the rest of the weekend. Plan is for me to go to Talladega next week. So there won't be live commentary streams at all next week. I plan on attending the ARCA, Xfinity, and the Cup races. So there will be some race highlight from the grandstands as well as maybe some other related videos. Jet drivers are on pit road still trying to dry the pit lane. There's a lot of standing water in some of the pit boxes yet, so looks like they're trying to dry that up as quickly as they can under the caution flag conditions. Caution laps don't take quite as long around a half-mile racetrack as well, so this is going to be even less laps for a lot of these drivers to try to get their laps back here before the end of stage 1. Or I should say fight for the stage positions to get some stage points here in stage 1. Again, the running order will not change. What you see on the screen right now will not change during these pit stops. No live stops as the team switch from rain tires back to slicks.
We talked about it earlier today, but Kyle Busch Motorsports going for win number 100. Be pretty special if it could be the old boss man Kyle himself.
Yeah, that's just an amazing accomplishment. 8 wins here at Martinsville. 5 different drivers. Kyle himself has won a couple.
Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, Christopher Bell. I mean, the names, the list of names goes on and on. Bubba Wallace ran here, won here twice.
Kyle Busch had a great start to this race, obviously. Zane Smith fell back to the 5th position, so I'm sure he's glad the rain tire experiment is over. See if he can get some slicks on there and make some ground back toward the front.
Kyle led 29 laps so far. Zane Smith, who started on pole, led 5 laps.
There's that number 38 Long John Silver's truck.
It's the Long John Silver's 200. How appropriate.
Got their name on the...
That means he's going to win, right? Automatically, Zane Smith, right of W. Give him that 3rd win of the year for Long John Silver. For Mr. Long John Silver himself.
Slower Kyle Busch was to our ghost truck. This is going to be the pace early in the race when they ran about 21:40, and we're going to see the difference in what the pace ended up. See, there's lap 25.
Thanks, Kenneth. Thanks for tuning into the stream
Kyle
too.
on lap number 2. I think it appears to be completely backwards.
Yeah,
It's like obviously the ghost truck was lap 2, and and the painted truck was the most recent lap before they threw the caution flag. But that was the difference. And again, we were going to see some fall off if we'd have started a race on slicks, and we'll see that again. We'll have a good gauge on how much these slicks are going to fall off after we restart and run 20 or 30 laps.
When we come to pit road, these will be non-competitive stops. They're just going to change out the tires. Everybody must do so. But if they mess something up and lose a lap, you lose a lap. So I don't know that that means it's non-competitive. It's controlled pit stops. What do you think about that? They're telling the teams what they must do.
Yes.
Well, we saw this last week across the board with the Truck Series, the Cup Series. They'll have an allotted amount of time to do work, to make their normal adjustments. You just can't gain a spot on pit road, so you will exit where you enter pit road. NASCAR had to let them know, so they don't go flying over the wall like, come on, we gotta nail this stop. Everybody's in the same boat here. They can take their time.
Yeah, we're hearing some of the crew chiefs, some of the teams are asking our pit reporters what it's going to be. Are these going to be live pit stops or controlled pit stops?
You know, you just got to double check and make sure you got all your facts right before you go flying into action. There you see Memphis-Villarreal. He's going to stay on the track and get the free pass. The rest of those trucks are a lap down. They'll have to pit next time by.
Even though these are controlled pit stops, you can still speed and get busted for speeding on pit road.
All right, Heather.
And Corey Hine comes in from that second position, and you just mentioned it, Phil. A lot of teams were asking me, hey, can we put fuel on this? Is this going to be a live pit stop? What are we doing? So the 11 team here, they opted to practice, kind of get in the rhythm, but he said he's thinking that it's going to get a little bit tighter as they go on. So they're going to tighten up that truck here. And the 15 of Tanner Gray, he also said that his truck was a little free on entry, but overall pretty good. Jamie Howe?
And the number 19 of Christian Eckes also coming in. There will be no adjustments. He did ask for slicks, even though everybody has to take them, but he is concerned about the straightaways. One line off of the wall going back to slicks. He said it's still pretty wet out there for Kyle Busch, that number 51. They're making no adjustments to that truck. It is gas and go. They did act like it was live because they wanted to test the jack stands, but other than that, it was business as usual.
Interesting. No changes for Christian Eckes or Kyle Busch. Pretty happy with their trucks. Now they'll see what they really have with the slicks.
Yeah, the big changes. The 4 tires.
Yeah, that's all we need right now.
Let's make sure this is going to be okay.
So we'll have a little less than 10 laps to go at stage 1 by the time they get back to green flag racing. Watching the Long John Silver's 200 at the Martinsville Speedway tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll stay right here with our coverage. 33 laps led for Kyle Busch so far in the race after Zane Smith led the first 5. Under a competition caution right now for the teams to be able to change back to slick tires after starting the race on rain tires following a roughly 2.5-hour rain delay to start today's race. There were people in the chat before the stream started asking exactly what was going down. Why weren't they racing when it was raining earlier? It was legitimately thunderstorming earlier at the racetrack, so for lightning purposes, they actually had a lightning delay before the rain came in, and about a half hour after the lightning delay started, it was an absolute monsoon at the racetrack. They're not, even on a road course, they wouldn't race if it was a thunderstorming and coming down in a downpour, because they're just not going to be able to. And on an oval situation, it'd be much worse. There'd be a lot more spray, even less visibility than on a road course, so they could get more spaced out throughout the course of the field. Obviously, in a half-mile short track, everybody is in tight confines. They're very well packed together. For anybody who is watching the race, you can see that there was even a little bit of spray towards the top side of the racetrack on the straightaways those first couple laps of the race. So just imagine if it was only raining on top of it, like how bad that could have been for these drivers and teams. So good call by NASCAR. I think they made the right call going green when they did. It was still a little bit wet, but we're able to get to racing a lot sooner, maybe about 15 minutes to a half hour sooner than what we would have, and that obviously saves everybody because now the race will end about a half hour sooner than what it was originally going to. Well, obviously it's going to end about 2.5 hours later technically than what we were originally expecting because of the rain delay to start the race, but they did a good call, obviously not racing earlier when they did, and the track conditions were good enough for them to put the rain tires on. We saw a lot of fall off with those rain tires in the first 26 laps or so before they threw the competition caution, and now the teams can change back to slicks, and they have. So Kyle Busch will be the leader on the restart. Corey Heim will also be in row 1, and then Tanner Gregg, Christian Eckes in row 2. Zane Smith, Ben Rhodes in row 3, then Ty Majeski, Carson Hocevar in row 4, Matt DiBenedetto, Matt Crafton in row 5, as we'll have a little less than 10 to go in this first stage. Sarah Isaac, thanks for tuning into the stream also, as well as Daniel Kyle Busch fan, welcome as well. Peter Horn, thanks for tuning in. Just over 100 people watching right now. I can't show the race for copyright reasons. Stream will get taken down immediately if I'm showing any coverage of the race, so doing the commentary myself. Do that every weekend for the Truck Xfinity and the Cup Series, so feel free to stay tuned. Feel free to hit the like button. It helps me out a ton. Subscribe as well for more daily NASCAR content.
Had a nice start to this race. Drove up 9 spots, making some ground.
Weather Expert Gaming, welcome as well.
Now, it's going to be restarting from the rear. Stayed on the lead lap, though. That was a great job by Brad. Very critical.
And how about Kyle Busch? The race leader right now has led 35 laps tonight. Under this caution, Kyle Busch has passed Johnny Sauter to become the all-time lap leader here at Martinsville in the Truck Series. He's led 626 laps and counting.
Just add another thing to his resume.
Every time he's in the truck.
Let's choose it up, y'all. What do you say? Think Kyle goes to the bottom?
We got to go to the inside, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep. Corey Haim's going to take the outside.
Everybody's pretty much following suit.
They are. Yep.
It's interesting.
One inside, then one outside. Inside, outside.
Matt Crafton mixed it up.
He's going to give up a row to move to the inside.
Saw right behind him, Jake Garcia went with Matt. He gave up 2 rows. He could have jumped up on the outside.
Adding a lap here before we get back to green.
Come back to 1 to go. Get this field all set. Hop on board with Ty Majeski and watch from his driver's eye cam. I just think that's pretty cool.
If you're just joining us here on FS1, we started this race, made a little bit of history with wet weather tires. We raced hard for 27 laps with no cautions, no incidents. And we just had a competition caution. They came in and put the slicks on. So ready to see what they have here. Sunday, the NASCAR Cup Series is on FS1 for some short track racing at the Paperclip right here in Martinsville. The pre-race kicks off at 2 p.m. Eastern with green flag at 3 Eastern. That's only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Excited for that? It's a big weekend of racing here at the Paperclip. And the good news is, hey, who's that? We've got a Hall of Famer in the house. Bobby Labonte, ladies and gentlemen. He will be joining us in the booth with Mike Joy and Clint Boyer as well on Sunday. So, Bobby, good to have you. But we're about to go green. Let's go. Cut.
7 laps to go, stage 1, green flag back in the air. Busch, the control truck on the bottom of Corey Heim, who was on the outside of the front row. Corey Heim got a great launch off the start. Kyle Busch maybe spun the tires down on the bottom, and Heim maybe clear into turn 1 and 2. Busch stays down on the door of the 11. The 11 truck pinches him off the exit of the corner, trying to get a better drive off than Busch, and he is clear. Corey Heim to the race lead for the first time tonight, trying to win the stage, pick up a playoff point, where if he qualifies for the playoffs this season, that will carry through him every round he advances. Tanner Gray able to stay in the 3rd place position right as he was at the time of the competition caution as well. Zane Smith still battling side by side with Christian Eckes for 4th. And then Ben Rhodes, Carson Hocevar also behind them side by side. Ty Majeski trying to squeeze in line behind his teammate Rhodes on the bottom to get to the inside of Hocevar. Zane Smith holding on the inside, and Eckes doing a great job on the top until finally Smith clears him off the exit of turn 2. Smith had such a good drive off, he not only cleared the 19, but quickly got to the inside of Tanner Gray. Now, Gray moved up a lot of spots, gained 8 positions at the start of the race on the rain tires. Now that they're on slicks, we'll see if he can hang on to his track position. Should be able to hang on for at least some sort of stage points here as we're down to just 3.5 laps to go at stage 1. Corey Heim has about a 4-truck-like lead over Kyle Busch into turns 1 and 2. Heim logs in another lap led. Just had a better launch than Kyle Busch on the outside. Busch spun the tires on those slicks getting into the restart zone. Held himself up just enough, and despite not being the control truck and being on the outside, Corey Heim did a great job to get to the lead on the 51 of Busch. Carson Hocevar's been stuck on the outside every lap since the restart. Got passed by both ThorSport trucks of Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski. And now Matt DiBenedetto will pass him for 8th. Hocevar finally gets down to the bottom in 9th. The one truck of Sawalich, making his first start of the Truck Series season for Tricon Garage, has already worked himself into the top 10 as he battles Colby Howard for that position. 1 lap to go in Stage 1. Kyle Busch still losing a little bit of ground compared to Corey Heim right now. Maybe not as good on the slicks for Kyle Busch in the early going. And Zane Smith, who lost a lot of spots on the rain tires at the start, from pole to 5th, has worked himself back to 3rd and now battles Busch for 2nd. Green, white, checkered flag in the air for the first time tonight. After 50 laps, it'll be Corey Heim winning Stage 1. Kyle Busch 2nd. Very closely behind him was Zane Smith in 3rd. Tanner Gray ends up 4th. And Christian Eckes will finish in the top 5 in this first stage. Ben Rhodes will be 6th, Ty Majeski 7th, Matt DiBenedetto 8th, Carson Hocevar 9th, and William Sawalich ends up finishing in the top 10. So those drivers will all receive stage points for stage number 1, and that will be the first stage win of the season for the 11 truck of Corey Heim. I'll double check on that real quick to make sure it's his first stage win. I got to log on to the point standings real quick. And yes, that is the first stage win of the year for Heim. Comes into the race with 1 top 5, 4 top 10s through the first 6 races of the season, and he's 7th in the driver standings. So that will go a long way for him getting these stage points as he's still winless on the year. May see some pit stops. They only had about 8 laps of racing, so I don't expect too many drivers to pit. Ross Chastain will get the free pass during the stage break caution. Our second yellow of the day, but 2 cautions not incident-wise. The comp yellow after the race starting on rain tires earlier today. They had the comp yellow just after lap 25, and now the stage end caution here at lap 50. Still a little less than 150 to go. 50 laps will be the scheduled distance in stage 2 once again, and then 100 laps in the final stage. These teams will not have to make any green flag pit stops at all today. It'll be interesting to see who decides to pit now. I don't think we're going to see many drivers at the front of the field pit. A lot at the tail end of the lead lap may top off on fuel, change tires, but I guarantee a large portion of the front field will stay out considering they only ran about 8 laps. We'll take a quick break here. You're watching the Long John Silver's 200 at Martinsville Speedway live on KRC for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Everybody will keep this live coverage going. We'll get 2 diecast showings tonight as well. I say 2 because actually during the truck race at Dirt Bristol last week I only did 1. So gonna make it up for you guys. Got a Dale Jr. diecast. He's a former Martinsville winner. Number 81 Busch Series car. He drove this car in the 2005 season. And it is a Ritz Oreo paint scheme. So very chromy on the paint scheme here. There's a little bit of dust on this car. This is one of the cars for whatever reason collected more dust in the case than others. But yeah, it's a very clean paint scheme. This car is very, very shiny. I don't know what they did, whoever the diecast maker was of this one. I can't remember, to be completely honest. But whatever they did, it is a very, very clean looking race car. So this will be our first diecast showing of the night. We'll show another one at the end of Stage 2. Usually only at the end of Stage 2, but again, I didn't show one during the truck race last week at all, so making it up with 2 of them here today. It's the easiest way I can show off the display I have in the back, because it's probably hard for you guys to see on a weekly basis. They do have the Air Titans back on the pit road trying to dry off the pit lane a little bit more during this stage break as well before they open the pits. So we should ride around under caution here for a couple more laps.
This could be playing into some of these crew chiefs' strategy. I like it. Right now, I mean, they might just come to pit road right now, or when pit road opens, top off their tank and be set to go all the way to the checker. if their tires don't fall off too much. I like that play because you have that option then. Obviously, giving up track position on a little track like this is a tough decision to make, but it's certainly part of the playbook that these guys will consider.
Yeah, we set the pit window somewhere between 135 and 145 laps. Well, cautions will extend that. Obviously, we're going to get some caution laps after these teams are allowed to come to pit road, and then we know we're going to have several caution laps at the end of the second stage. So there's going to be, probably another 12, 15 laps that they can count on no matter what for caution laps. So I like that option. That again, then if the truck isn't good and they need tires, they can always come back in and get more tires, but they have the option of trying to run it to the end.
How about that to try to stop the little river leakage? Dropped a sandbag inside the safer barrier.
Yeah, there's just a couple of places that are still draining a bit, and NASCAR wants to make sure with these big heavy trucks on slick tires coming to pit road that it's plenty safe for those crew members to hop over pit wall.
Yeah, 30 miles an hour doesn't sound like a fast pit road speed, but you don't want to get hit by a truck at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Certainly. You can see the standing water there. Wonder if NASCAR would consider making this a controlled stop. So, come down.
I don't think that would be a bad idea. That way we can get back to racing sooner.
Come down and don't lose your position.
The size of the storm we had for even on about an hour, the amount of water that covered this racetrack, the infield. It's amazing that we're racing right now, so I know a little bit of a delay here, but hopefully you're enjoying what you're seeing so far. It's been an eventful evening. Heather?
And we're jet drying the pit road here right behind us, but I do have Ben Rhodes, crew chief Jared Prince, and obviously this race has started off a little bit wild for you guys, so what's the plan going forward for you in the 99?
Well, we're not sure yet. We're going to wait, see how long this yellow plays out, see if we can make enough fuel here, but I really don't plan on coming back now.
And how's the truck for Ben? What has he been saying over the radio to you so far?
The truck's pretty tight, so hopefully we can get through that in a little bit here, let the tires heat up and get back at it.
Thanks, Jared.
Well, I think Jared, he heard you guys, or you all are thinking the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously the tires didn't fall off at all in those 6 or 7 laps that they ran after we restarted with the slicks. So I think it's a great call. And again, it just opens the options up.
Well, we're going to be under a bit of a delay. Let's see what Corey Heim's thinking, Phil. What do you say?
I like it, yeah.
Hey, Corey Heim, Walter been the Fox crew. Do you copy?
I got you.
Well, that was impressive. I want to know, first of all, what were those rain tires like? You're the first person that's been on them that can tell us about it. How'd that feel?
It was honestly really a lot more good than I thought it would be. I thought we were going to be sliding around, but I think the concrete being around the corners really helped that. The straightaways were damp, but it really didn't feel like a transition. It was really a big deal from the concrete to the asphalt, and clearly our Safe Light Thunder Tyranny Pro turned really well to the center of the corner, and we were able to get up front.
One last thing. That was an awesome restart from the outside. Great job grabbing the lead there.
Yeah, no doubt. Really excited to see how this place changes throughout the night. I think we're going to lay down some rubber, and a lot's going to change, so got to keep up with it, and hopefully we're there at the end.
All right, bud. Thanks for your time. Have a good race. Safe flight repair. Safe flight replace.
What's Zane Smith's crew chief saying, Jamie?
Well, Chris, last time we talked to him before the start of this race, went out on the rain tires. Zane fell back from that pole position several spots on those wet tires, but then once you went to the slicks, he was able to move back up in third right now. What changed for him in the truck?
Yeah, it's crazy how tight those rain tires are. No stagger and some other things, and not being able to make an adjustment. You kind of got what you got. So we were just really tight on those, and definitely a little better on these. So we'll see if we can keep moving up and get these next two in front of us.
Strategy right now, big question mark. Do you stop? Do you go to the end with fuel? What do you do?
I don't know. I don't think you can make it from the stop, when we stop. So I think you're definitely going to have to stop one more time depending on caution laps. And we're on a green racetrack too. So tires, I think there's going to be a little wear more than what we normally see here. So I think you're going to see more stops, but you never know.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Well, it sounds like Chris Lawson's in favor of coming again, getting some fresh tires.
Again, I think the rain tires are so much softer. Michael pointed out all the rubber that had built up just in the amount of laps that we ran in the rain tires. So I think that's accelerating getting rubber on the racetrack more so than we would have if we would have started the race on slicks.
NASCAR seems to be finishing up their drying efforts of the pit road, so we hopefully get to pit road soon to see these pit stops and how this strategy is going to play out.
All the pit crews, they have their little things. They've got the tape out there, the sticky stuff, all different things that they like to use to hit their marks so their driver can hit their marks. And tonight, obviously, it's a night race and there's some water on their pit boxes, so it's interesting how everybody kind of adapts as we go.
What's interesting also is there's still some stray showers in the area. So if one more of those showers come through, do we go back to those rain tires? How does this play out? A lot going on here at Martinsville tonight.
And I like that's all the more reason to stay out right now or top off and then stay out knowing that this race could get shortened because of a rain shower.
Saw Ross Chastain in the 41. He is the free pass. All right. Pit stops underway. Heather, they're coming your way.
And as you see here, Grant Infinger coming in from the 15th position. His crew chief said, hey, we got to do something different than everyone else here because of our pit stall and our track position. We may be off sequence, but we will be in a good position for the end of the race. So they're going to do 4 Goodyear tires here and top it off with fuel. Jamie, how?
Well, Nick Sanchez up pit lane in that number 2 machine. One of the things that I took away from the call to come to pit lane was his crew chief, Donnie Stockman, asked him, he said, I'm giving you the decision here. Do you want to live with it right now or do you want to come in and make some adjustments? Nick said that he was too loose in the back of the truck. He wanted to go ahead and get it changed. He's thinking we're going to stay green for a while and he can make up some ground.
Big adjustment for Nick Sanchez there.
And I like this strategy, obviously putting tires on. There's only 5 or 6 laps on those other tires, but they can also glue them back up and put it back on if they need to. But they've had plenty of tires to start to run this race. They had 4 sets of slicks to run this race, and the rain tires did not count against that quota.
Chase Purdy, Dean Thompson, another couple of drivers along with Haley Deegan, they all came to do, just because they started in the back, you know, let's do something different. If everybody else stays out, let's mix it up.
I really thought we would see more of the trucks coming at least top off like we were talking about to open up the possibilities. Chris Lawson said he didn't think you could make it from here. It would be stretching it, but again, we know we can count on at least 7 to 8 to 9 caution laps during the end of the second stage.
Raja Karuth on pit road, a couple other trucks as well. A little mixed strategy here. So Christian Eckes, he's been pretty strong in these opening laps, and what a season it's been for this young man. Battle of 2 seasons right here. You see Daytona out with a bang, and then he gets a win, the first win for this team this year at Atlanta, but the last 3 haven't been so good.
Yeah, remember at Texas, he was running on the top 5 on the last lap and got caught up in that wreck when Nick Sanchez was leading wreck. So that was another great run for Christian Eckes, just didn't get the finish.
Boy, it sure does feel good to have that win in his pocket, though, doesn't it, after the problems he's had lately? And now riding in the top 5 at number 19. Gates Hydraulics. Talked to Bill McAnally, owner of this team today. He said they've been with us since 1998. That's 25 years of sponsorship for Bill McAnally.
That's amazing. And Bill's known to have long relationships. What is it, 33 years with Napa?
That's right.
Well, they've all got to be thrilled with Christian Eckes, what he's been able to do, and Bill bringing him on board, seeing the talent in this man, and you can just see it. When Christian speaks, he just has this confidence. He's so happy where he is.
Yeah, Napa provided lunch for the entire team at this week at their shop, so I know that was fun for everybody.
And then talk about the team. Jake Garcia has just been so impressive, reeling off 3 top 10s in his first 5 races, and I just love his spirit and his attitude. And conversely, that truck's bright red and blank. He doesn't have a sponsor on his, and Bill said, could you tell the world, Mike, we need some help over here.
Jake Garcia, he's been one to watch every single week. I'm looking right now at 13th, and you're right, Michael. There goes that bright red truck. We need to get a sponsor on him.
Well, we'll line up and do it again. How about Corey Heim takes the bottom on this restart after getting the lead from the top?
I thought Kyle had trouble getting up through the gears. See the light still on the pace car. That means we will not be going this time. We're adding a lap. Great run early for Tanner Gray in that 15 Toyota for Tricon Garage. 2 of the Tricon trucks up there in the top 4 right now. With Corey Heim. Yeah, Corey Heim and Tanner Gray.
Tanner Gray turning 24 tomorrow. Might end this race about midnight. It could be his birthday.
Wouldn't that be a great place to celebrate your birthday? About 12:01 tonight, Victory Lane.
That would be awesome. Kicking it with your grandfather clock. I always love those photos.
Didn't you help Bubba unload his grandfather clock when they delivered it when he won, Michael?
We lived in the same apartment complex, and so I saw you needed a little bit of help, and I helped him carry it to his. I was over a pizza shop. Bubba
Was he on the ground level, or?
He was one up.
You had to take it up the stairs?
We had our work cut out for it. Great memories. That's what I talk all the time about these truck drivers. You know, Bubba comes to the truck series, and you get to know them, and you get to follow them all the way to being winners in Cup.
We're adding one more lap here before we go green. Checking windshields. Looking for raindrops, perhaps. Hopefully not. But he talked about getting to know these youngsters when they come up through the ranks. I mean, we get to do the Arc of Menard series. Same thing. You get to know, William Swallich and Connor Jones and Ty Gibbs and these drivers that start there, and you realize the talent then, and you see how quickly they progress and move up.
Never remember the great
Bring us
season
down
we had.
pit road this time. Take it past start finish line. Stay dubbed up.
You hear that?
Didn't want to hear it.
No, a little bit too much precipitation on the racetrack now.
It was just getting good.
Let's put your rain tires back on.
There you go.
And turn the lights back on and go again.
Yeah, we have that ability. We've proved it.
It is an option.
I just got a text from Bubba Wallace.
Oh yeah, definitely coming down pretty hard right now.
Not the second, Mike.
Heavy rain.
You were delirious by the time you got upstairs anyway.
I think Bubba questioned how much help I was anyway.
See the raindrops coming there as they bring them down pit road. We're 67 laps into a 200-lap race, so we are not at the halfway point yet. So hopefully this rain shower will be quick and move out of here, and we can get back to racing.
That was that stray shower I was talking about on my radar, and it hit us.
What do they say? April showers bring May flowers?
Yes.
But not when it's NASCAR time.
We don't need them yet.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend, though. Get to see a triple header here at Martinsville, one of the most iconic tracks on the circuit.
The Xfinity Series coming up tomorrow. Adam Alexander and company will be calling that. And on Sunday, the Cup race. And like you said, Michael, forecast looks great.
Bobby Labonte up here in the booth with us will help call the action on Sunday.
He knows a little bit about success at Martinsville.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot more than me and you do. For sure.
When you were talking about, on rain tires you need to miss the line, he didn't miss the line.
No, not one time.
No.
This is interesting. I thought they might just send them to their stalls and remount those rain tires on there. See what the plan is NASCAR is formulating here for this brief shower.
We're stopped over there and pit out between turns 1 and 2 as the red flag is out, waiting to see what happens next.
Give you an update in a moment from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Kyle Busch in the 51 led 38 laps tonight. Corey Heim, who's done a really nice job sticking with the 51, has led 24 laps, and Zane Smith was the pole sitter. He led 5 laps before falling back just a bit.
So far, it looks like the drivers are staying in the trucks.
It usually means NASCAR let them know that this should be quick.
Brad Perez's truck's overheating a little bit there. You can see the steam at the base of the windshield on the right side. You'll see that sometimes when you're circulating around at probably 35 miles an hour. Is the caution speed on the racetrack, and you're not pushing that air through that radiator to cool these trucks.
Now NASCAR said that we would not race in the rain, that we would race in damp conditions. So as soon as the rain stops, which it's just a small cell that clipped us. As soon as it stops, then that's when the decision will be made. The teams have 3 sets of wet weather tires, so they'll decide then. NASCAR will dictate what these teams do.
So they're covering the cowl opening with that one new moisture to get into the air cleaner.
as we wait for this quick shower to pass, we'll step aside. Stay with us here from Martinsville.
So it looks like they've got some teams having their crew members putting some covers on the race trucks right now. Some of them are still waiting it out for the time being. We are under caution. Technically, this is the stage 1 yellow break. They ran about 16 to 17 caution laps trying to wait out a rain that had come back. It started raining a bit too hard, so they have brought the teams back onto pit road right now, and we continue to go under this red flag condition. So under red flag for rain, we had about a 2.5 hour red flag, or not even a red flag, 2.5 hour delayed start for today's race due to rain. And now, obviously, race is paused on lap 67 due to rain. Now, they had to make it to the halfway mark or the end of stage 2 to make this race official. We are in stage 2 right now, so we're not at the stage end. And halfway is at lap 100. We are still 33 laps away from the halfway mark to make the race official tonight. So, if for whatever reason it rains hard enough and long enough that they cannot get back to racing today, they will finish the race tomorrow. But again, we'll have to wait on NASCAR's word for that. We will stay here means the race has already started, so if we get any interviews from any drivers, crew members, team members, you guys will get to listen into the race coverage when they are back from the break. So far in this race, Zane Smith started on the pole, led the first 5 laps as the race started with drivers on wet tires, damp conditions. Wasn't really raining at the time, but damp conditions from the rain that had obviously passed through before the race had started. And then after that, Kyle Busch was able to take the race lead away. The competition caution came out at lap 26. Teams threw slick tires back on their race trucks during that competition caution. On the restart, Corey Heim was able to get to the lead. He got around Kyle Busch on the outside lane. Busch kind of stalled out on the restart. It looked like he spun the tires just a little bit. Corey Heim took advantage, won stage 1, and then right at the end of stage 1, the teams had pit road open to make pit stops. Just a few drivers came down to make stops, only like 3 or 4 of them came to pit road, topped off on fuel, took 4 fresh tires. They had about 8 laps of green flag racing on that last restart, so they're not going to have much fresher tires really than everybody else, but a little bit. But back under red flag conditions for rain again at the end of stage 1. They had actually waved the 1 to go at the start-finish line about 3 times in a row, trying to get back to green flag racing when the rain first came. And it just started raining way too much. Tigers wanted a walk-off. Cool. Daniel Pooley, thanks for tuning into the stream also. I'm surprised they didn't put the wets back on, honestly. I think they think it's just a little too wet. They don't want to risk it. Because there was a slight delay for the Richmond race, too. I think, what was it, the Xfinity race? Started like an hour late. On a rainy day that day. It was thunderstorming earlier, so I can understand why they didn't start the race originally at 7:30. It was an utter downpour. And it was raining pretty hard here soon. Or I should say temporarily, but not as much anymore. They're queuing up Tanner Gray for the Fox booth right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, the rain tires just have less grip, right? So I think that was just a case of everybody trying to figure out what they could get away with. Everybody at Tricon Garage has done a great job bringing me a fast JBL and Toyota Tundra. So hopefully we can get back going here. I feel like we're pretty good. Probably seem to be a little bit better on the rain tires right there. So yeah, hopefully we can get back going.
I know we've run a few laps, and we talked earlier about the pit window being somewhere around 130 or 40 laps, and right now with 133 laps to go, have you guys talked about maybe coming in and topping off, and that way opening up the options to maybe stay out and not pit anymore?
No, we're just kind of playing it by ear right now, so just got to see how it all shakes out. Hopefully it works out in our favor.
All right, buddy, got a good run going. Finish it off.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
That's not something you hear every day. Yeah, I think we're a little bit better on the rain tires.
Yeah.
So not exactly where he wants to be, but pretty darn good. Good showing today. Heather.
And catching up now with the crew chief of the 11, Scott Zippadelli. So Scott, I heard you on the radio say, hey, let's just put those rain tires back on and let's go. What do you think's going to happen here?
I have no idea. We don't seem to know what we're doing like minute to minute right now. We're just hanging around, putting reins on, slicks on, what lap we're pitting. I think we're kind of just making it up as we go. So we'll see what they decide on. But yeah, I'm ready to go. We got another set of reins right here. We'll put them on our Safe Flight TRD Pro and go back out. Hopefully we win a race.
And let's talk about that 11 truck. He's been fast so far in this race. Do you guys think you have what it takes to hang on to it and get a win tonight?
Well, right now I feel like it's pretty good. He said he's a little bit tight, but going from the rain tires to the slicks, pretty happy with the bounce. Didn't throw us too big of a surprise. But, you know, when you race Kyle Busch, he's going to be good. Give him 1 or 2 pit stops, and we'll be racing him. I promise you there. And looks like Zane Smith's pretty good right behind us. So we'll see. We hope we can get some more laps in.
Jamie Howe?
The crew chief on the top of the box for Kyle Busch is Brian Patty. You've been out over the wall. You talked to Kyle. You talked to the officials. Rain stopping now. What do you want to see happen?
Finish the race so I can go home. It's, I don't know. I'm a little confused on what's going on, but the truck ran, really well on wets and didn't fire off so good on the dries, but, it's going to come in. We don't expect a 10-lap run to finish this race, but doing a good job. Obviously, guys are doing a great job on preparing these trucks all year, so we'll see what happens.
We saw on that restart, it looked like Kyle had a hard time shifting. You said it didn't fire off so well. What do you do to ensure that doesn't happen the next time?
I think he needs to learn how to shift then. We're just going through the motions here. We're trying to, obviously the lane I think was a little bit damp on the inside when we took it, so it didn't fire off as good, and the truck's just loaded up real nice and biting really hard right now, so lugging the motor, and that'll go away over time, so we'll see if we can get to the end of this thing.
The last time Kyle was behind the wheel of the truck was back in COTA. You guys ended up not winning that race because of the call that he made from inside of the truck not to come to pit lane. You wanted him to come to make that pit stop. Now that he's back, what has been the conversation about who it is that makes the call to come to pit lane?
That's just a laughing matter. We live and learn, right? We do it. We win as team, lose as team. He's obviously great for our sport and great for our team. So I want to clock. Real bad. We're trying to get 100 for KBM, and that's our goal.
Thank you.
Brian Patty with the funny. Well, he just has to learn how to shift. And he can do that. These two have known each other for a long, long time. Kyle Busch actually handpicked Brian Patty to step away from the Cup Series and come over here and be his crew chief on the 51 in the Truck Series. And you hear the frustration in the crew chiefs, but these guys like things measured out. They want to know exactly what's happening at all times. But the bottom line is you can't control Mother Nature. We're rolling with the flow, and NASCAR is doing an incredible job just allowing us to get to this point.
Yeah, we did not know that we were going to start on wet tires, probably 30 minutes before we did. So, again, I think they've done a great job here. Now, whether they make the decision to completely dry the track before we go back on the track, or put it in the same situation as it was when we started the race, that's something they have to weigh all the adjectives about it.
We've talked a lot about Christian Eckes. Had a good showing so far tonight, shown in the 5th spot, Jamie.
And so many different conditions that we've seen here at Martinsville today. It was so hot this afternoon, Christian, but there was a lot of grip that was put down on the racetrack. Then you started this race on the wet tires. How did it evolve once you were on the dries and the track started coming in?
Yeah, the track actually dried way faster than I thought it would. So that was cool to be a part of. But yeah, I want to get back racing here. I'm getting a little antsy. I hate pacing around and doing nothing. So I don't even care if we put the rain tires back on. Let's just go do something instead of sitting around. So our Gates hydraulic Chevrolet is really, really fast in the dry or the wet. So let's just go racing. I'm antsy. I get going here.
Other than just the tires, what were the conditions like in the truck? Was it fogging up? Did you have any other issues because of the weather right now?
No, honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was pretty dry. I felt like they could have dried in 10 or 15 minutes if they would have dried before we even got out there. But I guess this was a good opportunity to see if this worked. And I think it worked for the most part. So I just want to get back racing here.
Cool to be a part of, he said. But it's time to go, Jamie.
Yes, I like his attitude. Christian Eckes said, I don't care if we have to put those rain tires back on. Let's go. They do have another set or two of rain tires, so we could if we needed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to get this. Well, we'll stay right here. We hope that you stick it out with us.
Well, the plan is for us to stay late here and stick out the stream, so gonna wait out this rain delay until NASCAR says otherwise. They do have the jet dryers back on the racetrack as of right now. Not sure if it is still raining at the track or not. It doesn't appear to be raining very hard, personally, but it did for a few minutes, which is why they brought the teams onto pit road, but drivers are out of their trucks as of right now, so I don't think we'll be getting back to racing anytime in the next at least 10-15 minutes, so we'll wait it out. Rain delay at the start of the race and a rain delay here. We didn't go live until right before the start of the actual race itself, about 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, so live stream so far just a little over an hour in length, but looking like it is going to be a lot longer than what all of us probably signed up for, and a lot later nonetheless here tonight as well, as it's almost 11 p.m. here Eastern Standard Time on my end. We will have live commentary for the Xfinity Series race tomorrow. That will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I saw somebody ask that in the chat a little bit ago, so again, yes, tomorrow live commentary for the Xfinity Series, 7:30. And then the Cup Series race will be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. If the truck race, for whatever reason, can't finish tonight, and they do end up finishing the race tomorrow because they're not halfway or at the end of Stage 2 to make the race official with the rain, that they will more than likely go live before the start of the Xfinity Series race at some point. We will end up having live commentary for that also if we need to. So if the truck race does finish tomorrow, yes, I will be doing live commentary for it, so you can tune in right here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit the like button as well if you haven't done so for more daily NASCAR content. 45 minutes after the initial drop of the green flag is when the rain fell hard enough to bring the trucks back onto pit road again. A lot of these crew members, crew chiefs, and drivers alike wanting this race to get back going. Honestly, you know, my thought on what we've seen from the rain tires so far, and I don't know what the extent of what these teams are capable of being able to push with how wet a track is. I don't think NASCAR really knows either, which is why they brought the trucks back onto pit road again.
Do we wait and dry it a little bit more and leave the slicks?
I think they're thinking now to put the rain tires back on these trucks and put them back out on the racetrack. Now, whether that's just to help dry or whether we would throw the green flag and race like we did initially, I think that's yet to be determined.
I think they'll go back racing. It was such a successful run in the first little adventure there. And, you know, Phil, we're only 33 laps away from the stage break, so we could you know, totally run 33 laps, finish out the stage, and then have the controlled pit stops to change back to the slicks. I think the rain hopefully is out of here. There's no more sign of rain on the radar.
There's Jake Garcia. We've talked so much about the runs he's had this year. Very impressive. We're being told that NASCAR has told drivers, back to your trucks. That's you too, Matt Crafton and Connor Jones.
These guys are talking about what's happening on the racetrack. Nick Sanchez
talking about his speed right now, gas and brake.
And Phil, you know what a big part of this racetrack it is. It'll get a little bit loose when he gets on the brakes too hard. It looked like he did a little dance there. I think that's what he meant. Looked like he was dancing there. But that's a big part of success here, is that timing of your brake and gas and how you use the gas to help you get down in the corner and the brakes to turn. A lot going on.
Matt Crafton, a two-time winner here at Martinsville. He's with Jamie.
Well, the covers are now coming off of these trucks and drivers have been called back. There are still some unknowns for Matt Crafton. Once we did go back to the slick tires and he was able to kind of see what they had in the truck, they had a bunch of problems. He was explaining it to me that at the throttle, he was at full throttle, but it was just not going anywhere. Matt, as we get ready to go back out there, tell us what you're experiencing, what it is that you're working through right now.
I don't know, it was weird, even on the rain tires. I mean, it wouldn't even spin the tires center of the corner off. You could just mat it, and it would just bog. We saw some left rear rotor glow, and we don't understand why it was really having that much left rear rotor glow with the rain tires, because you weren't really that hard on the brakes at that point. But it just seemed like it was just had no get up and go off the corner, like something got something bound up, like a caliper or something like that. But we'll just keep working on it and see what happens. We'll be all right.
We'll be all right.
Shane Wilson is crew chief over to the right, checking things out, trying to see if he can't do anything to it at this point, but he could definitely see if anything looks out of the norm.
You saw the graphic there, 23 top 10 finishes for Matt here at Martinsville. That's more top 10s here at Martinsville than 26 of the drivers have top 10s in their career in the Truck Series.
Matt Crafton, 46 years old, from California, been doing this a long time. And here's another guy who's been doing this a long time. Look at Kyle Busch. Took a little break, and he's signed some autographs for some fans. How about the fans that have stuck it out all day long here?
And Kyle's just walking back ready to jump in that truck to go racing again. He takes the time to sign autographs. That's pretty cool.
We're being told that NASCAR told them indeed stay on the slick, so they believe that they got a handle on the track. They'll probably fire him up, do some more caution laps, dry it out completely. Curious to see what Ross Chastain can do, if he can overcome the obstacles he's had tonight.
I mean, he was not very good on the rain tires. We saw him get lapped at 20-some laps, but he did get the free pass at the end of the first stage, so he is back now on the lead lap. So, give those guys an opportunity to make some changes, and you know how good Ross is here at this racetrack, really any racetrack, so look for him to move forward.
Chastain will restart 27. But as Phil mentioned, he is back on the lead laps to see if he can make some hay here. All right, as they continue getting their drivers ready to go, we will fire them up again on the backside.
Alrighty, so on lap 68, drivers back in the race trucks, strapping up, about to fire engines and get back going after a monetary stoppage for more rainfall just moments ago, but a quick drying of the track. They didn't completely lose the racetrack, and it looks like these drivers and teams will be able to stay on slick tires, is what the call is being made from NASCAR, so they will not be throwing rain tires back on the trucks. When we get back to racing, it'll be slicks. AJ Summers, Regine Huddleston, and Ross Doherty, thanks for tuning in here as of late. Max Lauren, welcome to the stream also. Still just over 100 people watching. Appreciate everybody tuning in on a very late Friday night for our NASCAR Truck Series coverage. It has been a long one so far, just waiting things out. Race was originally supposed to start at about 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is now just over 3.5 hours since then. And we've only gotten about 67 laps in due to inclement weather. But we should get back to caution flag pace at least pretty soon once they come back from the commercial break. So somebody asked, Ross in the chat asked how much longer do you think the race will go? I'm going to guess anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half, as long as we don't have any more stoppages for rain. Going to check the radar real quick around Martinsville Speedway. Yeah, it's a 71% chance of rain in Martinsville, Virginia as we speak. So there are showers around the surrounding area. At least a 30% chance of rain all the way up until about 1 a.m. this morning. So probably going to be dealing with this off and on here throughout the night. There's a little bit of a green blotch right over top of Martinsville, Virginia right now. I'm trying to zoom in to see exactly where the track is in the area. I'm looking. Camera's not showing any rain at the racetrack itself as of right now, but there is definitely rain within the area for the next handful of hours. Nick Whitmer, thanks for tuning in. Again, to make this race official, they have to at least make it halfway. We're 33 laps from there, so if we get any more rainfall throughout the course of the night, we get 33 more laps of action, and we may see them get back to racing. A lot of water seeping out from underneath the safety barrier on the outside of the track, especially in the corners. It's staying above the actual racing line, which would be on the concrete in the center of the turn, so should be okay, but again, these teams are staying on slicks, so NASCAR not allowing these teams to put the rain tires on for this restart, at least as of right now. Maybe if the track is deemed a little too wet, once the drivers can give a little bit of input back to the crew chiefs on what the track conditions are like, maybe they'll make the switch back to rain tires, but we'll see. They'll definitely be making the decisions up on the fly here. Kyle Busch is not your leader. It's showing him in the lead on pit road right now, but Corey Heim was actually the race leader at the time of the caution. We're still at the stage 1 break out of technicality right now. We have not ran any green flag laps yet in stage 2. We had the stage caution, had pit stops, the 1-to-go signal a few different times when the rain was first starting to fall, and then it started coming down a little harder, so they brought the drivers onto pit road, and we've been under red flag conditions for a little over 20 minutes now. And about 133 laps still to go in the race itself. End of stage 2 is right at the halfway mark at lap 100. Then the final stage will be 100 laps in length. Nobody can make it on field to the end from right now, so we have not seen the final pit stops of today's race for fuel and tire purposes. And the trucks are now rolling off of pit road, so we are back to caution flag conditions. The red flag is lifted on lap 68. And we will try this again. And the red flag was posted at lap 67 for more rain. Just 20 minutes. Quick pass through shower did completely lose the racetrack, so not very long. How many laps till it's official? As of now, they can cancel. Will they reschedule? Plan right now not to do that. Here's Carson Hosevar getting queued up for the Fox booth, it sounds.
How you doing? How's your truck? How'd you like those rain tires? What do you expect for the rest of the day?
I don't know. I went backwards, so it was just definitely interesting. My rear got really hot. Just felt weird. It wasn't really raining or really wet. Honestly, it was really dry when we were out there, so those tires got really hot. But the boys got me a really fast Flex racing Chevrolet, and hopefully things supercharged to go a little bit forward as we go. And ultimately, that's what a lot more laps. I feel like that's where I'm better is when we get into a rhythm.
Yeah, once you put those slicks on, then things started to look up a bit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to run the top in, and just not as good as I would have thought, but no, it felt like I wasn't too bad hanging there and hanging tough. So once I'm in the preferred line, I feel like this thing's gonna be pretty good.
That's great. Appreciate your time, buddy. Have fun.
Yeah, I hope y'all are enjoying this. And
we see the green flag a little bit more.
That's
Thank
what we
you,
hope
Carson.
to.
Exactly.
We're enjoying ourselves up
Isn't
here.
it cool we can go down in the truck and talk to these guys as they're getting ready to go back to battle, and they're just that kind and forthcoming with all the information?
Yeah, because they did already get the one-to-go signal a couple times. They've already gone through the choose rule, so the field is still doubled up from before when they had their original lane choice. It sounds like they're giving the teams 2 laps of caution here before we go back to green flag racing. Red flag timed in at 24 minutes and 40 seconds. For anybody wondering how long that red flag was. At lap 67, again, 24 minutes and 40 seconds. Corey Heim is your race leader. He'll be on the front row of the restart with Kyle Busch on his outside. Heim elected the inside. Virtue of the choose rule. Tanner Gray and Zane Smith will be in row 2. Ben Rhodes, Christian Eckes in row 3. Ty Majeski, Matt DiBenedetto in row 4. Then Carson Hocevar and William Sawalich in row number 5. FJ Rockets, or Rocks T, sorry, thanks for tuning in. But you have got to make it at least halfway to make it official if we do get more rain. But they do have the red flag lifted, so the plan is to go back to racing. There will be rain showers and thunderstorms in the area, so hopefully it stays dry the rest of the night. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's been a long one so far, and it's going to be a late one at that. Greatly appreciate everybody staying tuned. Pace car onto pit road. We'll be back to green flag racing again. Hopefully a lot of the fans at the racetrack were able to hang on tight. Corey Heim leads the field to the green. And this is the first time we'll see green flag racing in stage 2 at Martinsville in the Truck Series here tonight. Pretty solid restart for Corey Heim down into turns 1 and 2 once again. He'll be cleared off the exit of the corner. Kyle Busch on the outside. Almost got into the outside wall off the exit of turn 2. Little tight for the 51, and Zane Smith will sneak by into second. Busch will get down to the bottom, forcing his way in front of Tanner Gray in the 15. Great undercut move by Busch, but he'll get blocked off on the front stretch by Smith. Smith struggled on the rain tires up the start, dropped from the pole back to 5th, and now he's up to 2nd on the slick tires, slowly working himself forward. Side by side, closest up towards the front of the field for positions 5 and 6 between the 99 truck of Ben Rhodes, who's on the outside of the 19 truck of Christian Eckes. Top 4 trucks single file in front of him and slowly pulling away. Matt DiBenedetto, who started top 10 tonight in 6th, still in the top 10 as he battles Ty Majeski side by side for position as well. .25 laps away from the halfway mark at the start-finish line as of right now. Corey Heim now having a battle for the race lead with Zane Smith. Zane Smith got underneath him through turns 1 and 2, but Heim had such a good drive off, he was able to pull clear of the 38 truck again and quickly get to the bottom in 3 and 4. Bumper to bumper is the top 2. Heim seems to be just a little bit loose off the exit of turn 4 that time. A lot better drive off, a lot more stable drive off out of the rear tire security for the 38 truck. Zane Smith, the veteran in the Truck Series, of course. Winning the championship last season, already a multi-time winner this year. The only driver to win more than one race in the Truck Series this season. Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes now battling for position with Carson Hocevar in position 6 through 8 on the racetrack. Zane Smith trying to get to the back bumper of Corey Heim off the exit of turn number 4 that time. Kyle Busch still within a second of the race lead. Zane Smith going to give a little bump to the back of Heim this time. He's been sitting behind him for a few laps. He just hasn't been able to make the move. He's been pretty patient behind the 11 so far. Kyle Busch starts to close that gap just a little bit more. Zane Smith will continue to up the ante with his aggression maybe on Corey Heim to try to get to that lead. Still have 22 laps left in the stage. As long as he can stay close to Heim and not burn the tires off the race truck, he should be able to be in position to potentially win the stage still. Haley Deegan with a little bit of damage on the left rear of her race truck. Tire rub going on that left rear tire. Likely some contact made. Hopefully that tire will hold up. But there was quite a bit of a rub, so she's going to have to be careful. 20 laps to go at stage 2. Zane Smith putting the battle to Corey Heim again through turns 1 and 2. He got to the inside of him a few laps ago. And it looks like the caution flag is going to be out for Lawless Allen in the 45 truck spinning in turns 3 and 4. Quite a bit of damage to the front of the 45 truck of Lawless Allen. Quite a bit of damage on the right side of his truck as well. I feel like Lawless Allen's involved in a spin like every week. Am I wrong in saying that? Or it feels like he's the cause of a caution a lot. Daniel Dye was on the inside of the 45 truck. There was definite contact that spun the 45 out. He didn't get into the wall with his spin, so a lot of the damage on his truck had to have been from well before that. Now, Dye was looking to the inside of the 45, and it just looked like, honestly, I don't think Daniel Dye really did anything wrong there. He was on the inside of Lawless Allen. Allen kept going down the racetrack to crowd him. I mean, maybe Dye could have lifted to let him back in line, but that was a very late block by Lawless Allen. He basically turned himself going into turn 3 because Dye was pretty much down on the curbing, entering the corner, not wanting to give up that positioning. So we're under caution for the first time for incident today. It's our third caution of the night, lap 82. And the free pass will be given to Spencer Boyd in the number 12 truck. So Boyd will be back in the lead lap. Big caution for Haley Deegan, who had that left rear tire rub. And as much as it was rubbing, it looked like she was going to end up having to hit pit row. But now with being under the caution, they could change the left side tires and still stay on the lead lap. Because if you would have to make a green flag stop in Martinsville, you're going to lose more than just one lap. There's actually contact from Lawless Allen. Coincidentally enough, before Allen ended up making a bad block on Daniel Dye. A little bit of damage on the left front fender as well for Deegan's race truck. I'll buff out that fender a little bit. No tire rub on the left front of the 13, but on the left rear. Jacob Savitz, thanks for tuning in. Why do they have rain tires? Because it is available. NASCAR did some testing and deemed that under certain rain conditions, very light rain conditions or wet conditions, they can use rain tires on ovals.
As you see him going up to
Stuart Friesen on pit road right now.
Top him off with fuel so he can get back out there, but he is happy with what he has under him. Well, Jamie, you had interviewed Matt Craftsman before he got back in the truck, and he said something just was amiss. Something was wrong with the truck. He just brought it down pit road and raised the hood, so still something not right.
Hopefully they were able to diagnose and repair the problem, but I like where Stuart Friesen is right now, as well as Matt Crafton. Obviously, with only 116 laps to go, if we get this entire race in, we know that those two trucks can make it the entire way.
We're just hoping for better weather. Keep this thing green. That strategy could work out well.
16 laps to go here in stage 2. Race will be official at the halfway point. 100 laps in. We're hoping it makes it all 200 laps.
Gonna choose it up this time by, Jamie. Coming to 1 to go. See if we can get these.
Pretty even last time. Had a couple. Yeah. Decided to mix it up.
Corey Heim going to elect the inside lane for the restart once again on the front row. Zane Smith to his outside. Row 2 on the restart will be Kyle Busch and Tanner Gray. Then Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski in row 3. We'll have 14 laps to go at stage 2. Racing to the halfway point as of right now, and then really any lap could be the last if we get some rain showers for the third time here tonight at Martinsville. A few trucks giving up some track position to try to top off on fuel, take some tires. It'll be interesting to see during the stage break how many trucks decide to hit pit road under a situation in which we could see the race end at any lap. If we do get more rain, there are storms surrounding the racetrack still, as they have throughout the course of the night. But the show must go on, and we're going to be back to green flag racing here late in stage 2 as Heim leads them into the Geico restart zone, and back to green flag racing again at Martinsville here tonight at the Long John Silver's 200. Corey Heim nailing his restarts. He does it again down to the bottom. Already clear of Zane Smith getting into turns 1 and 2. Kyle Busch trying to fight back for second on Zane Smith. He was losing the top 2 trucks just a little bit on that last restart. Busch holds the bottom lane through 3 and 4 and clears Smith for that second place position off the exit of the corner. So Zane Smith losing a spot after restarting on the outside of the front row. Kyle Busch taking advantage on the inside of row 2, just as Zane Smith did on Busch the restart before that. Christian Eckes and Tanner Gray now battling side by side for 4th position on the racetrack, with Ty Majeski right behind both of them. Majeski down in the bottom lane behind Eckes, but nowhere to go with the 2 trucks 2 by 2 in front of him. Matt DiBenedetto and Ben Rhodes also side by side in the top 10 as they battle for 7th place, and Carson Hocevar stuck behind them with nowhere to go. DiBenedetto, little sliding action out of his truck off the exit of turn 2. He finally gives that spot up to Ben Rhodes, and Hocevar now to the inside of the 25 of Matty D. Hocevar potentially trying to get to the inside of Rhodes, who did not clear the 25 truck yet. And not quite clear yet. It looked like he wanted to try to pull up to clear him, but he just was not clear. And now off turn 4 he will be. Hocevar drag races to Benedetto down the front stretch back into turn 1. And Matt DiBenedetto still up on the outside. Big tire rub on the 16 truck of Tyler Rankrum. He gets a little contact, causing more of a tire rub now in that left front after Lawless Allen got into him. Quickly chops Allen off going into the corner. Allen the cause of that last caution, and gets into Tyler Ankrum just a little bit. It looked like Ankrum tried to throw a late block similar to what Allen did, causing that first incidental caution tonight. An 0.8 of a second lead built up now for Heim over Busch. And we're down to 8 laps to go at stage 2. Tires should hold up on the 16. They don't seem to be rubbing too bad. And the lettering of those Goodyear tires is still on the actual outside of the tire wall as well. Zane Smith is being held up by Kyle Busch at second. I don't think Busch has anything for either Zane Smith or Corey Heim right now. He seems to be struggling with a little bit of tight conditions on that 51 truck. Kyle, probably the best driver in the rain tires at the very beginning of the race. That's where he led all of his laps, but hasn't led any laps on slicks so far. Although he remains with the track position in the top 2. He's definitely struggling in that 51 truck as we speak. Still ran a little bit quicker than the 38 truck of Zane Smith behind him. 5 laps to go in the stage now for Corey Heim. Just over a 1 second race lead. Stuart Friesen is around, and that will bring out a caution in turns 3 and 4. 4th caution of the race. This should get us to the end of the stage. Flat left rear tire on the 52 truck. He just came to pit road to change tires, so you'd have to imagine that got punctured due to contact towards the back end of the lead lap. And Friesen's probably going to end up going a lap down because he's going to have to pit and repair that tire. So I don't think we're going to get a restart in here because 5 laps is not long at Martinsville under caution, so I have a feeling that this will run into the stage break. He was on the outside of the 4 truck of Chase Purdy. They made contact off turn 2, and that ended up cutting the tire down immediately. It was flat well before he got down into turn 3, and ended up losing control. Almost looked as if he may have spun. Potentially intentional? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. I don't think he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap. I'd be shocked, honestly, if they can get that car jacked up in time before the leaders come back around to lap Friesen. A couple of yellows back-to-back here late stage 2. This will bring us to the stage end itself. And Corey Heim going to sweep the stages tonight at Martinsville, winning his first 2 stages of the season. So team communications right now for Ty Majeski, they are telling Ty to stay out during the stage break, that they feel that rain is coming, and it should rain for about an hour, so they could potentially end up calling the race if we do see that rain come to the track. Pit road is open. But with the stage end coming, I would imagine a lot of trucks will end up staying out, especially in the top 10 to receive their stage points that they earned. So this race can be official in 2 more laps. So complete them under caution here. No rain at the track for the time being. XX Leary, thanks for tuning in. We are practically at the halfway point. Under caution for a Stuart Friesen spin, but we're 2 laps away from halfway. Honestly, if it started downpouring right now, they'd probably just keep him on the track for like 2 laps and then bring him to pit road. At that point, you might as well. I don't blame them if they were to do that. Free pass going to go to Daniel Dye during this caution flag that will run into the end of stage 2. So Corey Heim has won the second stage tonight. His first 2 stage wins of the season will come during stage 1 and stage 2. Kyle Busch will end up finishing in second place in the stage, just as he did stage 1. Zane Smith finishes third. Christian Eckes fourth. And Tanner Gray rounds out the top 5 in our second stage of racing in tonight's truck race in Martinsville. Ty Majeski 6th, Ben Rhodes 7th, Carson Hocevar 8th, Matt DiBenedetto 9th, and Colby Howard rounds out the top 10. So all those drivers will receive stage points at stage 2. Not many drivers that were in the top 10 at the end of stage 1 fell out of the top 10 for stage 2. A lot of the laps were ran under caution, both prior to the red flag period and just after. We had probably right around 20 green flag laps or so ran of the 50 in stage 2. Corey Heim in that 11 team, I should say. He was in the 51 truck last year. But we are at the halfway mark. They're hoping that the rain falls any moment, but he has had probably the best truck so far today. Both him and Zane Smith seem to be the 2 fastest trucks on slick tires. Kyle Busch the fastest on the rain tires, but since they went to slicks, I'd probably throw Busch back there as about the 3rd fastest truck behind Heim and Smith. Busch was able to get by Smith on that last restart on the inside, but he couldn't keep up with Heim, and Smith was all over his back bumper the entire step of the way. Zane racing Kyle very cleanly. Pit road open again this time, and it looks like Christian Eckes in the 19 truck will hit pit road. And Colby Howard from 11th place will pit. One of the Thor Sport trucks are in. It looks like Majeski is on pit road. So there are some drivers in the top 15 that are pitting during the stage break.
Well, Jamie, what's going on with Christian Eckes? What are they thinking?
Well, one of the complaints that Christian Eckes had was that he was free on entry. He was really lacking some rear grip. So while pits are open, they said, why not? Just like you said, they've already got a win on the year. Maybe the rain doesn't make it. Maybe they get to keep going. And either way, they're going to learn something. So it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for Christian.
Definitely going to get to see a restart, I believe, before this rain gets here. It looks like it could be 10 minutes out, as we heard one of the crews discussing. Matt Craftsman's had all kinds of issues since this race started.
He's got a passenger on board now as they look underneath the hood. That's too bad.
Changing ignition boxes inside the truck. I'm sure he'd probably be doing some wiring outside in the engine compartment.
The hustle here to get back on the road without losing a lap. Looks like they're going to make it.
Mechanics are incredible at what they do. The things that they actually can do during
Look at that.
stop. Look at that.
How about that? That's teamwork right there, wasn't it?
And guess what? He stayed out ahead of the rest of the field.
Stayed on the lead lap, but look at the high fives there.
It was so good. Let's look at it one more time.
This is some WWE stuff here.
They're coming.
Watch out.
Out you go. And then he just squeals the tires.
I'm glad he didn't let him go, because if he let him go, there was another truck coming. There it is right there.
Yeah, let me get out of here.
That was great.
I'd love to see some little green flag racing here.
Would you like to see Corey Heim trying to hold off Kyle Busch one more time?
Yes. That and like some of these drivers that came to pit road.
They have not gotten to the choose yet. We'll take our second break of the night while we're waiting for green flag racing to resume to start the final stage of tonight's Long John Silver 200 at the Martinsville Speedway. Appreciate everybody tuning in and listening live on KRC. Live race commentary for the Xfinity Cup Series left this weekend as well. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. And thanks for staying up late on the East Coast as well, everybody. Hopeful Smokey in the pot, thanks for tuning into the stream. Some of the teams saying that the rain is potentially 10 minutes out. They are getting the 1 to go signal this time by Corey Heim on the inside for the restart. Kyle Busch will be on the inside behind him. He did not take the outside of the front row, so Zane Smith will be on the outside of row 1 this time. Busch feels confident with the inside of row 2 right now. Corey Heim nailing the restarts as well, so that'd be a good truck to potentially follow. Former KBM driver is Heim. Still in the Toyota camp, but no longer obviously with KBM after they made the switch to Chevrolet this season with Kyle Busch, now racing at RCR in the Cup Series and having that alliance manufacturer-wise. Gresham may be turned up here towards the front of the field. Any lap could be the last lap. If we get more rain, the race can be deemed official as we are just past halfway. We had a rain-short race already this year at Daytona where Zane Smith won that one, and he's battling for the win late in this one as well. Green flag, back. 95 laps to go. Potentially any lap could be the final one as they get back to green flag racing. Pretty good restart on the outside by Zane Smith as he tries to hold on tightly with the 11 truck of Corey Heim, but Heim will be clear off the exit of turn 2, and now he's got a door full of Kyle Busch to his inside. Zane Smith wants to get down to the bottom as quickly as he can. He crowds Kyle Busch in the middle of turns 1 and 2, leaning on each other, just a slight bit of contact off the exit of the corners. They still stay door to door. Zane Smith will now be clear for second, pulls a block into turns 1 and 2, and has his eyes set on Corey Heim, going to try to run him down before a potential rain is on the way. How long can we stay green under actual race conditions as well? And aggression has definitely been turned up in the back half of the top 10 as Carson Hocevar trying to move Tanner Gray out of the way. Got into Ben Rhodes off the exit of turn 4, jacking up a couple trucks. Body slams the one of Salowich, who's sideways drifting through the middle of turns 1 and 2 and drives out of it. What a save by the one of Salowich. There's still 3 wide on the backstretch heading into 3. Everybody's just using each other up now as Nick Sanchez gets ran into from behind by Chase Purdy. All over the door of the inside of the 2 truck is Purdy. Hocevar absolutely bullied Salowich out of the way. Hopefully that 1 truck holds on, doesn't have a flat left side tire. And he did a great job hanging on to that truck as he still remains in the top 10. Hocevar, after all that contact, moved up to 7th. Chase Purdy still battling side by side with Sanchez. He used him up, but he couldn't actually complete the pass on the 2. As they battle for 11th place on the racetrack behind Salowich. Ross Chastain in the 41 has worked himself back up to 13th. He was a lap down at the end of stage 1, got the free pass. And it sounds like we have a caution. Daniel Dye has spun in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, sorry. Turns 3 and 4, Daniel Dye has spun, bringing out a caution with 90 laps left in tonight's race. And the free pass will be given to Raja Karuth in the 28th place position. So he'll get back on the lead lap. Now, if we do end up running all the way to the end, I don't think that the drivers that have not pitted since the red flag condition that we had about a half hour ago will be able to make it on field to the end of the race. Everybody who did pit both during the stage break and during one of the late cautions at the end of stage 2, following another spin from Stuart Friesen after he blew the left rear tire. Those drivers that did pit, they should be able to make it upfield to the end, especially with all these caution laps being ran. Malazzi in the 22 truck getting pushed around the racetrack right now, maybe having some mechanical issues. FS1 going to another commercial break. I'm going to try to pump out a couple more here under these late race caution conditions just in case the race comes to an end a little early tonight. But I guess beneficial for you guys. We'll stay right here most of the way towards the end. If we do stay green all the way through, You're watching the Long John Silver's 200 at the Martinsville Speedway live on KRC for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Hopefully you're enjoying the coverage. Again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. 84 likes on the stream right now. Let's try to get that to 100 before the end of this race and the end of the stream. And hopefully you guys stay tuned to the end. Appreciate everybody staying up. Almost midnight here on the East Coast. It is a long day, but we will see. Hopefully they can get all 200 laps in, but doesn't sound optimistic. Pretty tame race up until that red flag came, and now knowing that more rain is on the way, that could potentially end this thing as we're past halfway. There was a lot of beating and banging through the field. It's one thing if you're faster than somebody to move somebody out of the way. Like, that's the whole, Rubbins racing deal. Somebody's holding you up, for an odd amount of time. You got to go. You got to get past them, especially in a shorter race, I guess, with the Truck Series only being 200 laps. Now we're down to 87 to go. It's down to crunch time. But we do tend to see in the Truck and the Xfinity Series, more so in the Trucks than the Xfinity Series, but it still happens in the Xfinity Series a lot. And not really that much in the Cup side. But they absolutely use you up. Like, I saw Chase Purdy completely door the 2 truck trying to pass him for a couple corners in a row. Going into the corner, he was committed to using him. Sanchez was giving him quite a bit of room. Sanchez just literally got bullied off the bottom. It wasn't like he was getting held up. He just drove it into the side of somebody else using 4 wheels or 8 wheels faster than 4. A little bit of a rain falling right now. So they'll remain under caution, and if it starts to rain a little heavier, they will bring the trucks back to pit road. They are doubled up right now. And it sounds like they may be going green this time by. As of right now, they have gotten the 1-to-go signal. Corey Heim and Kyle Busch will be on the front row. Busch on the outside of row 1 this time. He's taken second from the inside of row 2 the last couple times. But we are going to get back to green flag racing here. The rain is just starting to fall, so any lap could be the last. This is the dash for cash. 85 to go in the restart. Quick cleanup with the yellow. We're back to racing at Martinsville. Who will get the win? As we could be racing to the checker right here. Another great start by Corey Heim on the bottom. He has been excellent on the restarts tonight. 3 wide, further back, getting into the first turn. 1 truck all the way down to the curbing, squeezing themselves underneath Carson Hocevar. Still 3 wide. Down the backstretch, Hocevar hooks the 17, and he ended up going around himself. That'll bring out a caution as he slides towards the entrance of pit road. 1 truck went into the pits to miss him. Flat left rear tire on Hocevar. Now, the tire, I believe, was flat after the contact off of turn 2. And really all the way through turns 1 and 2. I couldn't tell who that was that got underneath him. I think it was... No, I don't think it was Taylor Gray. No, it actually was. Yeah, Taylor Gray made it 3 wide getting into the corner and then leaned on the 42 a little more. And Hocevar looked like he just kind of hooked him. I think he tried to hook him, but then he ended up losing control of his truck himself. I'm glad he didn't hook him because that would have backfired majorly because there were obviously the whole field coming. They were inside the top 10. It is possible that the left rear tire was flat and that caused him to dart sideways. And it sounds like they are parking Carson Hocevar for 2 laps for trying to intentionally wreck Taylor Gray. We've seen Hocevar in this situation before. So, repeat offender, I think, is what NASCAR is kind of seeing in their eyes. So they're going to park Carson Hocevar for 2 laps for intentionally trying to wreck Taylor Gray on the backstretch. It did look like he was trying to right hook him, which would not have been good because that would have taken out a lot of race trucks. He did get used up the corner before, so I understand his frustration, but you can't right hook a guy in the middle of the field. So didn't even get a full lap in there. Another caution, buying Corey Heim a little more time, who had the lead when the yellow flag waved. Kyle Busch was still scored in second. Free on entry means loose on entry. Rear tires are sliding out as they're applying brake, essentially. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much later anywhere, for the most part. I have a feeling it's going to be a caution fest to the very end, whether we make it the rest of the way or not, just because of how this race has been pretty much paced ever since that rain delay. Red flag for a little under a half hour we were under red for. Well, Ty Majeski's had a great season so far. Hasn't finished worse than 11th through the first 6 races, and he's finished 6th or better in 5 of those 6 races. 11th on a super speedway at Atlanta was the only finish outside the top 6 so far this season for the 98. No wins to show for it. He had a few a season ago. Made it to the championship 4 as well. And we do have more rain falling as of right now under caution. A lot of these teams hoping this race does end short of its scheduled distance because they will not be able to make it on fuel. The drivers who have pitted over the last few cautions that we've seen here in the early going of Stage 3, they will be able to make it on fuel. I know Christian Eckes was one of those drivers. Stuart Friesen, Matt Crafton were all on pit road at one point in time. The highest running of them as of right now. And there's rain in the area, but it's not heavy. And if it passes through quick, who knows? It is a risk either to pit or not to pit. Definitely seems to be falling a little bit harder at the track right now with 80 to go. Tyler Rankrum, by the way, had gotten the free pass during that caution, so he's back on the lead lap in the 16 truck. Great recovery by Ross Chastain to get up to 12th place. He was a lap down right around 25th at the end of Stage 1. Started off the race pretty poorly on those rain tires, lost a lot of track position, and on the slicks, though, looking pretty good. Working his way up through quite a bit of the field. His teammate Carson Hocevar was in the 7th place position up until bringing out that last caution and then getting parked by NASCAR for 2 laps for intentionally trying to right hook Taylor Gray down the straightaway in the middle of the pack when they were 3 wide and on the first lap following race start, so everybody was pretty much double wide behind them too. You can see some splashing and some puddles in the grandstands near the front row as well on the front stretch from some of the camera angles that I've been seeing here that Fox has shown to the trucks on the racetrack. Waiting to see if this passes through quickly without having to bring the trucks back to pit road again. Looks like there's a lot of spotters that are moving down, I should say, off the spotter stand. So I'm almost wondering if they feel that they are not going to be getting back to racing here. Maybe bringing the trucks back onto pit road again. Fox going to a commercial break for right now. Again, we will stay through coverage. Actually, they are not going to break, my bad. I heard the music in the background. They were just showing the rain short race at Daytona earlier this season. Rain has been staying away from all the Cup races so far this year, but the Xfinity Series has had a couple races with rain delay starts. Now the Truck Series potentially going to have a second race already out of the first 7 this year for the Truck Series season that will end early due to rain. And Zane Smith potentially going to get a top 3 in both races. Corey Heim, of course, the race leader here. He has probably had the fastest truck tonight. Heim and Zane Smith have had the 2 best trucks. Kyle Busch probably the 3rd best. Kyle's been beating Zane Smith on the restarts to consistently get to 2nd. But Corey Heim has been the class of the field. So if they do call the race short, I don't think it is what some people would say Mickey win by any stretch of the imagination. Sure, he didn't have to go all 200 laps, but I think he had the best truck and won the first two stages, and obviously in the lead at the time here with 76 laps to go. Back to red flag conditions once again at Martinsville, as the trucks have been brought down onto pit road once again. Our second red flag of the race due to rain, and that doesn't even count the rain delay we had at the start of the race. It does look like the track is very damp. Already 11:45 Eastern Standard Time right now, and local time at the Martinsville Speedway. It's been a long night. We are past the halfway mark, so the race can be deemed official. About 24 laps past halfway right now. Still 76 to go. Corey Heim has led 82 of the current 124 laps. Heavy rain. You'll get to hear from the race winner of today's race if we do interview him, as well as some of the other top finishers. Starting the race, though, on the wet tires is the difference in us getting to halfway tonight. Because if they did not run those 26 laps on the wet tires at the start of the race, it probably would have taken them another probably 15 to 20 minutes at least to dry the rest of the track off. And because we are only 24 laps past halfway, you can get about 3 laps in a minute at Martinsville under green flag conditions. If you do the math, if we didn't take the time to run those 26 laps, I don't think we'd be 24 laps past the halfway mark. We might be a couple laps shy of halfway still, which would mean that this race wouldn't be deemed official. But because we did start on rain tires, even with the mid-race stoppage we already had, and now with this being the potential end, we were able to get to the halfway mark by at least getting some of the race ran during wet conditions today. I know a lot of people, myself included, would have liked them to have ran all 200. They did see a window where they could have gotten this race in. It does stink that all 200 laps will not be ran completed here. Drivers are hopping out of the race trucks right now. The race leader Corey Heim hopping out of his truck currently. He's hoping for a little bit of a rain dance. It does look as if they have lost the racetrack, in my personal opinion. It is a lot more damp than what it was when it had rained during that red flag that we had for about 24 minutes. That didn't take very long for the driver or the safety crew to dry the track off with those air titans. Take a full field. We'll wait on the full field running order just because they could end up calling this race any second. Yeah, I think they have lost the track. It looks that way. Still waiting. I would imagine that NASCAR could call it at any second here. And they have. So Corey Heim has now officially won his first race of the 2023 truck season. Sweeping the stages tonight at Martinsville, Corey Heim has locked himself into the playoffs as he has won at Martinsville in a rain-shortened race, 76 laps shy of the finish, and about 24 laps shy, or past halfway. Here is your race winner, Corey Heim.
Now you get the win tonight. What do you have to say to your team?
This race was cut short, and, I feel like, it's definitely unfortunate, but, I feel like I would have been able to duke it out with Kyle and Zane and then the faster trucks. We were so fast. Just huge thank you to Tricon Garage. Our Safe Life Tundra TOD Pro is phenomenal today, and I just can't thank David Gillen, Kevin Ray, Johnny Gray, the Gray family for everything they do. It's incredible the amount of work they put in the past couple of weeks, just countless hours at the shop, and my whole 11 crew. I just couldn't ask for a better group of guys. So, and just Toyota Racing, Safe Flight, Tricon Garage, just everybody at the shop, just huge thank you.
That was one of the things you mentioned, Kyle, that you talked about earlier today, was the fact that in practice he just drove away from you. You said it was humiliating. He's behind you right now. You made that pass on that restart. As a driver, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. I bring 100% effort to every race, every week. So to be able to, sit here and have it pay off is phenomenal. Like I said, it is a cut short race, but that clock's going to take the same in my living room.
Congratulations.
And here's Kyle Busch.
And Kyle Busch brings it home second again here at Martinsville. And Kyle, a lot of unknowns going into the race. Obviously, you guys dealt with a lot there at the end, but could you have done anything differently to get ahead of the 11 tonight?
No, just we didn't have a good enough short run truck. Being a little bit loose that we were and free that we were hoping that would pay off in the long run, and we never got a long run. The longest run in the race was on rain tires, so just did not boat our way today, unfortunately. So the Zuriz Transport Silverado was good enough for second. Unfortunately, just never got a long run that we were hoping to get. I felt like we need a 20-lap, 30-lap run. I could see the 11 loose as well, and I was just hoping he'd burn his stuff up and we could get to him.
Thanks, Kyle.
Well, I'm with Kyle. I definitely wanted to see them duke it out and see what they could do, but Corey Heim, incredible job. Hey, NHRA qualifying in its entirety coming up when we wrap things up here at...
So we'll go through the official race results to tonight's race. Checkered flag flying after 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 39 seconds of total race time today. That doesn't include the 24-minute and 40-second stoppage we had for the first red flag condition. This race will end short of its scheduled distance, 124 laps out of the original scheduled 200. They were past halfway at the end of stage 2 already, so they could call the race. And Corey Heim will sweep the stages tonight at Martinsville, getting his first win of the season, locking himself into the Truck Series playoffs, and getting some playoff points to go along with it. 7 total today with the 2 stage wins and the race win. Congrats to Corey Heim for winning this race. He led the most laps. Again, like we heard from Kyle Busch, we never really got to see a long run, but as far as a short run goes, he definitely had the best truck when it came to that and led 82 of those 124 laps. Kyle Busch finishes in second place tonight. Zane Smith ends up third. Ty Majeski fourth. Tanner Gray rounds out the top 5. Ben Rhodes finishes 6th. Matt DiBenedetto 7th. Taylor Gray 8th. William Sowilich finishes 9th in his first start of the year for Tricon Garage. And Chase Purdy rounds out the top 10, finishing in 10th. Nick Sanchez finishes 11th. Ross Chastain with a good recovery finishes 12th. Jake Garcia 13th. Grant Enfinger 14th. And Christian Eckes finishes 15th. 16th, Chris Wright. 17th, Timmy Hill. Dean Thompson 18th. Colby Howard 19th. And Haley Deegan finishes 20th. Connor Jones 21st. Brett Holmes 22nd. Spencer Boyd 23rd. Memphis Villarreal 24th. And Roger Caruth 25th. Matt Crafton has some mechanical issues under the hood of that racetrack, finishes 26th. Tyler Ankrum was the last truck on the lead lap, finishing 27th. Caden Honeycutt, first truck of lap down, finishes 28th. Jonathan Schaefer in 29th. And Daniel Dye brought out that last caution before the rain came, finishes 30th. Stuart Friesen had a flat tire towards the end of stage 2, ended up finishing in 31st. Lawless Allen 32nd. Mason Massey 33rd. Carson Hocevar 34th, a couple laps down after getting parked, trying to right hook the 17 truck of Taylor Gray there right before the second to last caution ended up coming out. So that costed Hocevar big time. He was in the top 10 before that. But 34th place finish for him tonight. Brad Perez finishes 35th, and then Stefan Malozzi ends up finishing at 36th tonight, rounding out our field. I believe every truck finished today's race, no DNFs. We had 3 different leaders, 5 lead changes in those 124 laps. Again, Heim led the most with 82 laps led. Kyle Busch led 37 laps, and Zane Smith led 5 laps at the very start of the race as well. Average race speed of 47.17 miles per hour. A lot of caution laps in this one, obviously. Very similar to the season opener at Daytona, where we had a lot of yellow flag laps due to multiple stoppages of rain. Same thing here tonight. A little bit of a longer night tonight than what we had at Daytona in the season opener, but glad to bring you guys the coverage as always. We will get the full races in both tomorrow for the Xfinity Series and the Cup race on Sunday. I can guarantee it. There's no rain in the forecast at all for the Martinsville race weekend the rest of the way. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're only 5 likes short of 100 tonight, so be sure to hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done so already. Helps these streams out a ton, helps me out a ton, and hopefully we get to racing tomorrow. Our Xfinity Series live race commentary will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and our Cup Series live commentary stream at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Well, almost Saturday morning now, but Friday night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night for some Xfinity Series race coverage.